All right, once I get a confirmation that our YouTube is live and working, which I have the confirmation on, I will be beginning the debate. So our first question for the way this is working is that this is going to contain a variety of questions. Some of them are being audience submitted, some of them have been generated by me. I'm going to try to alternate them because we have 5 questions submitted from the audience and 6 that I created. Hopefully we will get through all of them today, but it is not guaranteed because of the time constraint. So let's get this started with my question. My first question is first to Plura72, and then we're going to work our way from right to left. So it's going to be Plura, then Dino, then Pepe, then if Bezzer shows up, Bezzer. Why should I vote for you? You have 90 seconds to provide your response. Again, if Plura is typing and then Priceless will read, that is sufficient for me. So Plura had the full 90 seconds to type.
Hello. Okay. Sorry about that. I was kind of
Okay.
stupid there. Okay. Yeah, so all of the other candidates have like same policies, but we want to do something different. We want to do more than just town riots. We want to make a Redmont where elections are more fair and easier for new players to get in.
Okay, thank you for your time. Moving on to Dino. Why should I vote for you?
Well, thank you for the question, Multi. I think most people should vote for me simply because I'm AsexualDinosaur. I've been around the block. I've been in Congress. I've been in the executive. I'm badass. I own a bird. I will do what's best for Redmont, which sometimes and many times will mean vetoing legislation from Congress because they suck at writing bills. In fact, I might veto all of them. Thank you.
Thank you for your succinct response, Dino. Moving on to Pepecuu. Pepe, you have 90 seconds to type out your response, and then after which Juniperfig will read it for you.
Okay, from Pepe. Hey, Redmont. I hope you've had a great day so far. I believe you should vote for our campaign, as we have one of the most extensive experiences in Redmont and are passionate to drive change by the people, for the people. We will ensure the proper functioning of government to serve the citizens while addressing as many concerns as possible in order to continually improve the DC experience. Thanks!
Right, thank you, Pepe. And then moving on to Bezzergeezer. Why should I vote for you? You have 90 seconds. Bezzer, can you hear us right now, or are you typing?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay. Hello, Redmont. I believe you should vote for me to bring back an actually accountable and active government. We have now seen 3 administrations that have failed to hold any of their cabinet accountable. The 1950 Juniper and Kaiser campaign administrations have failed to fire even one secretary, even though they've had many who should have been, such as DarkX and multiple others. I also believe that we should have a campaign, an administration that actually knows how to work with Congress and knows how to get things done. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So that concludes our first question. If anybody is requesting a rebuttal, please use /message to message me directly, so this way I can grant it to you. But seeing none of those, we are going to move on to our second question in this debate. This is an audience question. So here is our question from the audience. Our first candidate to answer this one is going to be AsexualDinosaur. How do the candidates plan to help current property owners to maintain the value of their homes? Dino, you have 90 seconds beginning now.
Oh, thank you. What a wonderful question. Truly, the way to increase property value is by not giving out properties. So I know many people really love the idea of DCT doing eviction auctions and selling plots. I think we should just stop. We should withhold those during my entire administration. We won't release any plots, and thus property values will only increase by private sellers who will release them. Thank you.
Thank you for your response, Dino. Pepe, you have 90 seconds to type out your response. Thank you.
Okay, answer from Pepe. We would use a combination of policies to ensure the revitalization of the Redmont property market, such as the continued disbursements of SOWF to affected depositors to ensure liquidity is reintroduced into the market, which will drive asset prices.
All right, thank you. Bezer, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds starting now.
I believe the main reason that we have seen a drop in the property values is due to the banking crisis, and therefore once we see the final payouts from the SOWF, I believe we can see if they return to their previous form. If they do not, I think we can explore other ways to bring them up. I think adding some new features to homes and such that make them actually important, other than other things could help. But first, I think we need to see if they return to their form just based on the banking crisis repair.
All right. Thank you, Bezer. And then Plura, you have the floor again. The question is, how do the candidates plan to help current property owners to maintain the value of their homes? Your time begins now.
Right now that the property is getting out of control, we need to get rid of the fairgrounds and divide them up into new properties for newer players, make them rentable or purchasable, and then the government takes them back and gives them to new players after a certain amount of time. That's all I would like to say for this.
All right, thank you. Seeing no requests for rebuttals received, we are going to move on to the next question, which comes from the moderator. Starting with Pepecuu. To what extent do you support town autonomy, and what is your ideal relationship between the federal government and the towns? You have 90 seconds beginning now.
Okay, from Pepe. Thank you for your question, Multi. I do extensively support town autonomy and am a supporter of the current bill in the House to codify town rights into our Constitution, ensuring that town rights are not just an administration-specific feature, but also a general part of DC.
All right, thank you, Pepecuu. Moving on to Bezzergeezer, you have 90 seconds to answer the question, beginning now.
Thank you. I am a strong supporter of town rights. Previously, when I was president, I made the executive order that removed the ability of the executive to fire mayors. I co-sponsored the bill in the House. I believe that the towns have shown that they are independent from the government and do not need any of our assistance, and they deserve to be independently represented by themselves as towns. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bezzergeezer. Moving on to Plura, being represented by Priceless. Again, the question is, to what extent do you support town autonomy, and what is your ideal relationship between the federal government and the towns? Your 90 seconds begins now.
I believe that while we should have town autonomy, we should not be able to create specific types of offenses. Some people want to allow them to amend certain federal laws, which should not be the case. They are independent, but it should not interfere with the government at all.
Thank you, Priceless. All right. Moving on to AsexualDinosaur. To what extent do you support town autonomy, and what is your ideal relationship between the federal government and the towns? Your 90 seconds begins now.
Thank you. I mean, honestly, I think we should give more power to towns. I know I've been one to, in the past, really talk about dissolving Aventura and Oak Ridge, but I mean, let's be honest, those places are the beating hearts of Redmont. Let's expand towns and actually dissolve more of Reville, right? If anything, we need more towns and less city. Thank you.
Thank you, Dino. There is a request for a rebuttal. I will grant 30 seconds to Plura 72's representative to rebut during the statement. Your time begins now.
I do not think that we should have two towns. I don't think they are the beating heart of Redmont. They're important, yes, but they're not so important we need to keep both of them. They take too much time. We need to merge them into something else, possibly. That's all.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on. For our next audience question is going to be, how do you plan to amend the divide, for example, communication issues and ideological conflicts between the legislative branch and the executive as president? Bezzergeezer, you will have the opportunity to answer this question first. Your time begins now.
Thank you. I believe fixing the divide between the legislative and the executive is very simple. I think actually talking to the representatives and talking to the senators and hosting, events, with the speaker and the president of the Senate is very important. I think if the two branches talk to each other, they will realize they have a lot more in common than they do against each other. I think you need to figure out what the legislative's goals are and, compromise with them on the ones you disagree on and work together with the ones that they do agree on. And in turn, tell them what you would like to achieve and they will help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bezer. Moving on to Plura 72's representative, your time begins now.
Sorry, would you mind repeating the question?
Yes, sorry. The question is, how do you plan to amend the divide, for example, communication issues and ideological conflicts between the legislative branch and the executive branch as president? Your time begins now.
I think that they should just work together. It shouldn't be based on ideologies. As someone once said, it is not about how we get there, it's about where we get. We need to not care about how we get somewhere as long as it doesn't impede on rights. We just need to worry about the end product. Impeding on rights is not something that needs to be done. We just need to find a way to compromise. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Priceless. All right, moving on to AsexualDinosaur. How do you plan to amend the divide, for example, communication issues and ideological conflicts between the legislative branch and the executive branch as president?
Thank you for the question. I mean, I did say earlier I planned on vetoing all of Congress's legislation. But honestly, I want to do this with Congress's blessing. So really, I think a big kumbaya where we all get together, celebrate, eat lunch together. You know, I hand out dino nuggies. You know, we all just really enjoy our time together. We'll all come to really appreciate what it means to not pass legislation, right? And in that way, we can maybe even just have more hearings, right? Because Congress loves hearings, right? So I'm thinking we push them to do more of those, less legislation. I veto anything that does get through. We call it a day. Divide and ended. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dino. Moving on to Pepecuu. How do you plan to amend the divide, for example, communication issues and ideological conflicts between the legislative branch and the executive branch as president?
Okay, from Pepe. I believe in order to solve this rift between the legislative and the executive, a president should be able to take feedback and criticism from all sides in order to foster a workable compromise that fits all opinions.
Thank you. All right. So moving back to the next question. The previous administrations have had several key figures become inactive. How will you go about ensuring that your cabinet and yourself remain active throughout your term? I believe we started with Bezer last time, so we're going to start with Priceless this time.
I believe that there should be little to no leeway to inactive leaders, congressmen. We should possibly even lower, or I apologize, raise the activity requirement, as some of them barely scrape by the amount of activity required. I believe it's 6 hours, which is not nearly enough. If you don't put out or even vote on a bill months, nearly your entire time in Congress, you're there for the pay, you're there for everything but doing what this country needs. Hopefully everyone here sees the same thing that I see. We need to encourage playtime. Some of the candidates here, I'm not going to say any names, have become inactive. We need to make sure they don't. I yield my time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. AsexualDinosaur. Previous administrations have had several key figures become inactive. How will you go about ensuring that your cabinet and yourself all remain active throughout the term?
Thank you. This is such an important question to me. You know, all secretaries serve at the pleasure of the president, and if my secretaries aren't pleasuring me, I just fire them. I think it's pretty much that simple. I'll just put anyone in. Truly, you know, if my DOE pick is just lounging around, not doing anything, they're out of here, right? Next in charge, let's move them up. I'll put the lowest guy on the totem up. You know, it's whatever. We just need people to head the position that will listen to me, the executive, the head honcho, the guy in charge. Thank you.
Thank you, Dino. Moving to Pepe. The previous administrations have had several key figures become inactive. How will you go about ensuring that your cabinet and yourself all remain active throughout the term?
Okay, from Pepe. Thanks for your question. I would like to utilize a more active method of the judicial resignation system, where secretaries are given the responsibility to be active and continue to progress on their policies and services. She will continue on. I should have waited until she continued. I didn't read the whole message. I'll start from the beginning of Pepe's message so that it's, it flows. Again, thanks for your question. I would like to utilize a more active method of the judicial resignation system, where secretaries are given the responsibility to be active and continue to progress on their policies and services. However, if they are inactive, they will be given the opportunity to step down and allow others to serve the role more effectively. If this is not a viable option, then I would consider firing them to ensure the smooth running of Redmont.
Thank you, Pepecuu. Moving on to Bezzergeezer. The previous administrations have had several key figures become inactive. How will you go about ensuring that your cabinet and yourself all remain active throughout your term?
Thank you. I believe the most easy way to ensure that they don't become active is to frequently communicate with your secretaries. If you are frequently communicating with your secretaries, you will be knowing what's going on in their department, what's going on with them, if they're inactive, if they're going to be away. But if you're communicating with the secretary and they aren't communicating with you, or they are communicating with you, but they're not being particularly active or doing their role, then I believe it's important that they be fired and they be replaced with another competent candidate, or an acting secretary be put in place if they're going to be back soon. But essentially, just communicating with them, and if they aren't communicating with you, then they should be fired and replaced. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bezer. I believe that's a full round across. We started with Plura, so we're going to move on to the next question, which is an audience question that overlaps with the next general question, so I'm just going to merge the two of them. So what is your view on foreign policy? How should we approach relations with Alexandria? Will the candidates commit to keeping the relationship peaceful and collaborative, or do you see our relationship as a competitive or a colonial enterprise? Dino, this begins with you.
Thank you. This is actually a really important question to us, as many of you may or may not know. Bertle is the Queen of Alexandria, so foreign relations are very important to our candidacy. So we would really like to see a peaceful work together between Redmont and Alexandria going forward. I know some other candidates have, well, maybe not candidates, but people have talked about going to war with Alexandria. They are a new and upcoming nation. They don't even have guns, and where we have weapons of mass destruction. I think we should really look forward to being more beneficial and assisting them than fighting with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Dino. Moving over to Pepecuu. Yes. What is your foreign policy, and how should we approach relations with Alexandria?
Okay, from Pepe. Our foreign policy is looking towards complementing each other's strengths and fostering collaboration between both nations. In terms of Alexandria, I would hope for bilateral discussions and definitely more treaties to ensure crime is reduced and deterred. Thank you for your question.
All right, thank you, Pepe. Moving on to Bezzergeezer. What is your view on foreign policy and how should we approach relations with Alexandria?
My view on foreign policy is positive. I think that when we left the United Nations, while it was a very poor organization, a very inactive organization, we did lose the possibility of some things that have now been possible again. I think holding summits like they held the other day are a very good idea and a fun thing that we can do. And I think that we should bring back the Olympics with Redmont, Alexandria, Oak Ridge, and Aventura. I think it would be very fun for our community to hold events like that. And I think foreign policy is also a great byproduct of the new server to add more roleplay and experiences to Redmont. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bezzergeezer. Moving on to Plura, represented by Priceless. What is your view on foreign policy and how should we approach relations with Alexandria?
I believe that while we should have good relations with them, we should try and remain separate from them. Not have a lot of connections with them, as they are a foreign nation and are prone to instability as they're pretty new. I do want to have good relations with them, and they've been very cooperative so far. We do need to be wary, and if necessary, declare war, as they have very different policies in mind from us. There may or may not be nuclear weapons they own. I yield my time.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, moving on to our next general question. We are gonna ask a general question about support for new players and also mix this in with an audience question regarding land purchases for new players. So to what extent should the Commonwealth give special support to new players? And do you have any plans to make, for example, the purchasing of land more affordable for new or poorer players? This question will first go to Pepecuu. I have been asked to repeat the question, so I'm going to pause Peppa's time and then go from there. The question was, to what extent should the Commonwealth give special support to new players? For example, do you have any plans to make purchasing of land more affordable for newer or poorer players? right, do we have an answer from Pepecuu? Okay.
Yes, we do. From Pepe. We would definitely like to explore the options of assisting those who are new and less wealthy in Redmont in order to ensure that they are able to enjoy Redmont with the rest of us. Thanks.
All right, moving on to Bezer. To what extent should the Commonwealth give special support for new players? And do you have any plans to make purchasing land more affordable for newer or poorer players?
A large part of our campaign is designed on the promise of helping new players. I think some of the ways we can help new players is making the exams free. Better helping them find organizations and players such as Venetia and some of those companies that help the newer players. I think the government should definitely seek to see in which ways they could take on some of the services that these independent companies help the new players with. But when it comes to the property part of the question, I think that the new players CBDs are a great benefit for new players. And I think maybe expansion or using some other plots in that way would definitely be something we could look at doing. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Bezer. Moving on to Plura via Priceless. To what extent should the Commonwealth give social support to new players? For example, do you have any plans to make purchasing land more affordable for newer players?
As I said before, we should split up the fairgrounds a bit, give it out to new players or let them buy it at a cheaper price. We should also make sure that new players feel welcome in our community. Pretty common answer, but it's just basic common knowledge. We shouldn't forget the older players, though. The older players know more, so they can help out the newer players. I am not a very experienced player. I've only been playing about 8 months. But new players should be the focus. That's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on to Dino. Dino, are you there?
Yeah, will you repeat the question for me? Thank you.
Yes, sorry. To what extent should the Commonwealth give special support to new players? And do you have any plans to make purchasing land more affordable for newer or poorer players?
Yeah, thank you. I'll be honest, I think we should actually give less support to newer players in form of governmental regulations or policy. I think one of the things we should do is actually enable banks or more private-based loans and really encourage mortgages and that kind of thing. And we should actually look at reducing the plot supply in general in order to help, like I said before, drive up property prices. I think these things would help benefit what it really means to be in a city RP or inside of Redmont, right? Right now, our banks really aren't doing a whole lot. The loans are kind of limited. I think it would go a long way if we actually had high property prices and to encourage renting or encourage loans. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dino. I've got a request for a rebuttal by Pepecuu, so I'm going to give Pepe 30 seconds to type the response in line with our rules. Do we have the rebuttal from Pepe?
Yes, we do. Rebuttal from Pepe. Thank you, Dino, for your statements. However, I believe that despite the benefits to the financial industry, new players should not be severely in debt just to participate in our economy. This is also quite evident via the relatively high default rates. Thanks, Dino.
Right, thank you. Yes, you may. Dino, I'm giving you 30 seconds to rebut the rebuttal, and then that will be the end for this question.
Hey, thank you. Actually, I wanted to clarify that it's not just that I want to put players in debt necessarily. I also suggested that we really encourage the rental market there, and that is something I had said in the previous answer. So it's not that necessarily they would have to be in debt. It's that they could look at rental or taking out loans for properties. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And then we're going to move on to our last general question before I get into the candidate-specific questions. And that question is thus. Throughout the previous term, the Department of Construction and Transportation has come under fire for what some perceive as over-aggressive enforcement. When selecting your DCT secretary, do you believe that the DCT should continue its path, or do you believe that a change is needed? I believe we start here with Bezer.
All right, thank you. I think the aggression that we've seen from the DCT is something that comes down from leadership of Secretary X Endeavor. And I think that with the change, with Kato being my secretary pick, I think it will change. So I think that, yeah, changing the secretary will change the outlook and the aggression of the department. And yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, Priceless, for Plura's response regarding the DCT and its path.
I believe that eviction should be a little more strict. I want evictions to happen more often. It seems like they are being too strict, but I think it's perfectly fine for them to do this. It is well within their right, and while I don't support N's decisions with the recent policy that caused the major controversy, I still think that stuff that doesn't hurt the citizens of Redmont that bad should be made and changed, amended. I believe that is all. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Dino, floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. Will you repeat the question for me, Multi?
I do not have the full question, but in general,
Uh-oh.
do you feel that the DCT is on the right path or the wrong path? And in deciding your pick for secretary, how does this play a part?
Sure. I think the DCT has made some pretty decent strides towards, building an architecture. I think some of their policy decisions were, I don't think they were necessarily bad, but maybe should have gone through Congress. I don't disagree that the ends policy was overturned, but how that goes into my DCT pick, like I said before, I want a DCT secretary that's willing to work with me to reduce the amount of plots that are available on the market and to help reduce the amount of evictions, auctions that are happening, to help increase plot prices, to help push loans, and to help push rentals. And so that's kind of what I'm looking for, and that's the path I'd like to go on. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And now that yields the floor to Pepecuu regarding the DCT. You have 90 seconds.
Pepe says, thanks for the question. I believe that the DCT Secretary is integral to the overall enforcement of laws, especially evictions in the DCT. We are looking to toe the line between enforcing the policies as written and also adding more empathy to the decision-making process to contextualize a plot build, especially more subjective decisions such as eyesore evictions. Thanks.
Thank you. With that, we are ending our portion of questions generally to everybody, and we're going to be moving into questions to specific individuals. But before I do that, we are going to take a 10-minute technical break, so feel free to take a little break for 10 minutes. We'll be back at 12 past the hour. right, so it is T-minus 1 minute until we return. T-minus 1 minute. All right, it is now 13 past the hour. I'm going to ask all the non-candidates to please leave the stage this time. And yeah, so we're back. This is going to be a different, it's going to be 90 seconds. I'm going to ask you individual questions that you each are going to answer. I did have one general question I had skipped, and I apologize. We're going to start with that. But after we're done with that one, we are going to sort of speak to individual questions that either the audience has submitted or from the moderator. So starting with, and we're also going to work left to right this time. So we were working right to left, so the plural was on the right and Bezer was on the left. Now we're going to work left to right during the individual portion. So starting with Bezer, question for you. Why did you pick your VP candidate? You have 90 seconds. So to clarify, I'm going to ask this question of all of you. So why did you pick your VP? I think Bezer may not be back from the break yet, so we're going to skip him and move to Pepecuu. Pepecuu, why did you pick your VP candidate? Also, a priceless, please stop the music. Thank you.
Okay, from Pepe. I picked Inza, Georgia, as my running mate because of her extensive experience in the executive. And that allows her to complement my own skills so that we're able to serve the country as best as we can. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Pepecuu. Moving on to AsexualDinosaur. Would you please tell us why you picked your VP candidate? Why did you make that choice?
Yeah, thank you. Great question. I picked McBrittle partially because they are the Queen of Alexandria. I really want to promote good Alexandrian relations. But the other thing is that when I started on the server, I started in the legislative with Brittle. We worked on legislation together. I'm very familiar with them. And between us, we actually have, I believe, experience in all of the executive, if not most of the executive. So I really rely on them for advice and would rely them for their advice during our presidency. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on to Priceless. Why did Plura make Plura's VP pick?
Well, it's a little weird to say this about myself, since I am his VP candidate. I have known Plura for near the beginning, when I became one of the first members of the Alexandria Central Party, or became the United Central Party. And my political career has just grown on that with the RU in Redmont, later RVP, where I became a lifeguard. And I've learned a lot of my political stuff from there. So me and him have shared history, and he knows that I have good experience with politics, and I have good ideas that we can both work together to make Redmont better.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm getting word Bezer is
I'll have to
having
go for a bit.
Oh,
I'll
sorry.
be back in soon.
Okay,
I'll be back soon.
that's fine. I've been told that Bezer is having a mic issue and is requiring somebody to speak for him. So I am going to add Casual Grey Knight, or request that Casual Grey Knight be given speaker permissions on the stage. Casual, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. So question for Bezer is why did Bezer make his VP pick?
Okay. I've already received an answer due to our little error earlier. Bezer says, I picked my VP because I believe there's no one more qualified than Sophia. She cares so much for new players and people of all walks of life. Besides that, she's an amazing person and one of the best friends I've ever had. That is it.
Awesome. All right, thank you. All right, moving to individual question time. So now I have an individual question for you, Plura, from an anonymous individual. It is an audience question. The question is, you have found yourself in numerous lawsuits during the last few days. As a president, your job is to adhere to and to enforce the rule of law. Do you believe that your legal troubles might hurt you in this capacity? Your time begins
Is
now.
this question for Plura?
Yes, it is.
Sorry, I just got back.
It was to Plura.
Okay. He has made some mistakes recently, and me and him have been discussing it, and he has decided that he is trying to turn over a new leaf, but he still has to pay the price for a few things he's done. Hopefully we both can learn a lot from it. That's all I would like to say. I yield my time.
Thank you. Moving to Asexual Dinosaur. You are, as the moderator understands, the current public defender director, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Before I ask this, okay. So there was recently a public defender case in which the public defender failed to appear, which resulted in a default judgment being granted. As the public defender director, you are in charge of overseeing the public defenders and making sure that people are getting their public defense to which they are entitled under the Constitution. Why should we trust that, given these sorts of circumstances happening, that you wouldn't be dropping the ball on some very important things when you're the president?
Hey, thanks. This was actually a case that the person had requested, and I delegated to them. It is, of course, my responsibility to oversee these cases, and I take full responsibility for that. I will say, however, I do think that the court actually had made a mistake in that regard. Obviously, the public defender had failed to follow through on their responsibilities, and that case should have been assigned the new public defender. I should have been contacted. But again, I do still take responsibility for that action. As far as in the future, it's one of those things you learn from, right? Keep an eye on those you oversee. And like I said, if my secretaries aren't pleasuring me, I will do what needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Dino. Moving to, who's the next one I have? Moving to Pepecuu. You were formerly a member of the Redmont Reform Party, the RRP. The RRP has for a very long time been headed by ex-Endeavor, who is, as some might say, a contentious secretary. What is your current relationship with ex-Endeavor? Do you have a positive or negative opinion of him? And what role would he play in your administration?
Okay, from Pepe. Yes, I was formerly part of RRP. I ran my first term as representative with them. However, I have since parted ways as I moved to be an independent. My relations with End have been positive for the most part, although I disagree with some of his policies. I missed the continue again. The continuation from Pepe. He is still a well-performing secretary, and I thank him for his service. However, he will not be serving as DCT secretary in my administration, as of now, but I do hope to work with him on other issues.
Thank you. All right, moving to Bezzergeezer. Bezzergeezer, during your term as presidency, Willow was dissolved as a town. You have positioned yourself as a friend of towns. Can you explain or square the circle on this and explain to the audience why you believe that these two are consistent with one another?
All right, he has gotten the message. Bezer says, I received an order from ownership to remove a town. At the time, Oak Ridge and Ventura were thriving. Therefore, the only logical choice for removal was Willow, which the removal was brought up in cabinet by the state secretary, and the mayor of Willow at the time asked for the dissolution of the town.
Thank you. Moving back to Plura. Plura, you are currently under congressional investigation. How can the public be reconciled with this when choosing to vote for you? Is Priceless here? Priceless, you there?
Sorry, yeah. What was the question?
Plura is currently, I'll restart. Plura is currently under congressional investigation. Why should the public have confidence in him and his ability to perform the duties of the presidency?
Like I said before, he's trying to turn over a new leaf. I think that we need to look past the past and look at what he has done good. I think that a lot of the charges brought up about him were not completely accurate. So, yeah, I don't believe that it was. I believe in Plura that he was told by anonymous sources that giving the DCT more money would help with funding the employment of new people, which I think is a good thing. He may or may not have been tricked by them, but I think that being tricked is not good enough reason to impeach someone or investigate them. And like I said, the bill saying I don't think making bills for a joke is great. It's not the worst thing you can do. Thank you.
All right, thank you. There have been many concerns, Dino, about people with ties to the financial industry taking the mantle of the presidency. You currently own a large bank. How can the citizens trust you to keep their interests in line instead of those of global financiers and capitalists?
Oh, well, thank you for the question. I never really considered DNB to be really a big bank, but we get up there. But thank you. Honestly, DNB runs at a full reserve. We haven't had any conflicts or issues. I think even people like Pepe use our bank. We're pretty well trusted. I don't really discuss with other banks. We don't do interbank transfers. I don't really foresee much of an issue, really. We don't operate in the same sectors as most of the other commercial banks or investment banks or anything like that. I'm happy to work with them. Like I said, I want to increase loans, but I really don't foresee an issue with DNB as a bank. Thank you.
All right. And then moving to Pepe. Pepe, you were, if I am not mistaken, a board member of the exchange at the time of the exchange's collapse. Can you explain your role at the exchange at that point in time, and also how, or what you did or did not know about the institution's impending collapse?
For the audience listening, Pepe said, I was a board member of the exchange, yes.
Is that all?
No, I'm sure she's typing. That was just an
Okay.
initial response. And from Pepe, the board was not given any information on the loan provided by Stoppers to UH himself. Therefore, we were not made aware that the financial conditions of the exchange at that time, as well as we generally do not go into detail over operational aspects. So it was a title with honorary voting rights over dividend yields. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Pepe. Moving on to Bezer. There has been some concern expressed about your respect for democratic processes following what some would describe a coup. Can you explain, why we should trust you to protect and defend democracy as president, given past involvements in impeachment hearings during the time of 2023?
All right, perfect. He has received the message.
Do we have a response from Bezer?
It says he is currently still typing.
Okay.
Just for clarification, it's a 60-second response time, correct?
It is a 90-second response time.
90 seconds. Okay. Perfect. Bezer says, I have proven since the incidents that I can be accountable, productive, and responsible member of the government. I have served in multiple roles and have tried my best in them. I have particularly enjoyed serving as a senator and participating in all of the hearings.
Thank you.
That is all.
Thank you. Moving back to Plura. Plura, you recently got elected on the Redmont Beach Party line, but very shortly after being elected to Congress, you left the Beach Party and formed your own party, which you call the Labor Party of Redmont, under which you are running for president right now. There is some concern out there regarding your sort of forthrightness in your commitments. Can you explain why you left the RBP and why those reasons would not make voters think that you might flip-flop on issues on which you're campaigning.
I'm sorry, I do not really know his exact reasons for doing so, and he is not available, so I will have to leave this question unanswered for now.
Okay. Thank you. I apologize. I keep getting attacked by TNT bombs, so I'm trying to get back to the podium. Now we're up to Dino, right? Dino, you have not released your cabinet picks yet. Can you explain what the delay is on this, or how this reflects upon your preparedness for the campaign?
Oh, well, I was actually planning on releasing them after the debate for the ones we do have. But, you know, if you'd like, I can list them out now.
Feel free.
Oh, okay. Well, to be quite honest, I was hoping to have Juniper Fig as DOH secretary. I still don't have a DOC secretary. The DOS, we were hoping for Angry Ham Dog. DCT, I'm currently unsure on, but I was actually looking at Roomba or potentially looking to ask Kato. I have talked to Roomba already. For the DHS, I haven't reached out yet, but I was looking to ask for Rory. DOE, I have actually already asked. I want Georgia back on the DOE. They were the person I trained. I want them there. DOI, I reached out to somebody and they weren't necessarily interested, so I'm really not too sure. I think Winter would make a great pick for it, but I haven't reached out yet. I believe. Am I missing any departments there? Oh, DOJ. I've asked Kaiserin to head the DOJ. Oh, and the DPA. I'm still in talks about the DPA, but I think I'm going with Z-Lost on that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm pulling up a question. So I get attacked by sheep, so hold on one second. Pepe, you are on the board of the National Exchange of Redmont, which is a large financial institution. If elected president, would you resign from the board or would you maintain your role in this financial institution?
The answer from Pepe. I am also on the board of NER. I will look to be taking a step back, as being president does come with a lot of conflicts of interest, so I will be leaning towards resignation in that case. Thanks.
Thank you. And then to Bezer, what caused your party to collapse shortly after elections?
He has received the message and has begun typing.
Anything from Bezer? Question mark.
Not yet. I have reminded him of the 90-second deadline.
Thank you. All right, seeing none, I think we're just going to not grant a response here in the interest of time.
All right.
And then that is as it goes for individual questions. Now we're going to go from right to left. I have one question for all of you before we do closing statements.
Pardon me, Multi.
Oh, you go.
I did just get a response. If you're still willing
for
to, let me share it. Bezer says, I think the party collapse can be attributed to multiple factors. It was a multitude of a poor election result and differing views of the people who left. Since then, we have elected a new leadership team for the Beach Party and have made new allies. I am confident that we will be back and build back better.
Thank you. All right, so one general question before we go into closing statements, starting with Plura, and will be followed by everybody. What is one positive thing you see in each other candidate?
Oh no. Okay. So I think Beezer, he shares a lot of views that I have, even though I don't really like different ideologies. Like I said before, Pepecuu, they picked very good candidates for their cabinet. I also respect them highly as a person and think they'd make a good president. AsexualDinosaur, they have very good dance moves. Yeah. Okay, that's all.
All right, thank you, Priceless. Dino, what is one positive thing you find in each of the other candidates on stage today?
Yeah, great. Thank you. Honestly, Bezer has a great stoicism to him. I think he has a lot of good ideas. Pepe, great head on their shoulders. I think they're motivated. They do what needs to be done. I really like Pepe as a candidate. They're great. Plura, what could really be said about Plura? You know, he certainly doesn't stop when he's put up against difficult situations. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Pepecuu, what is one positive thing that you see in each of the other candidates?
Bless you. Bless you.
Okay, so Pepe says, so I will go from Plura to Bezer in order. Plura is a very passionate person, and he has great humor and is incredibly based at times. Dino is a great lawyer. He has defended numerous players over his time as PD and at Solid Law, as well as being an amazing candidate. Last but not least, Bezer has a wealth of experience from his years in DC, and despite some antics he pulled in 2023, I believe he has learned much more from those experiences. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Pepecuu. And Bezer, what is one positive thing you see in each of the other candidates on stage today?
All right, Bezer is typing. Bezer says, I think Pepe is great at working with others. She has always worked with all sides, and I think that's allowed her to achieve what she has. Flora has continued to surprise in his career, and it's kind of fun to guess what he'll do next. Dino is a hardworking and versatile individual and completely changed the DOE.
All right, thank you. Now we are going to move into closing statements. Closing statements will be will be a 2-minute. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes to give their closing statement. So this way, we're going to wrap up around at the hour. We are going to move from right to left to give the two writers a little bit of time to draft those closing statements while you guys are speaking. So 2 minutes to Priceless on behalf of Plura. Your time begins now.
Hello, people of Redmont. Laura is a very, like they said, he's very passionate. He's made mistakes. You've made mistakes. Well, he's made a little more than the average person does. He's still a great person. He truly cares about this country. He wants new players to feel welcome. He wants everything that a president should want for his country. Ever since I've known him, beginning of March, he has helped me learn about the server, along with so many other people. And I have been trying to follow in his footsteps for the most part. His platform, his cabinet, I've picked out a lot of his cabinet for him since I have pretty good knowledge of a lot of people. Our cabinet is really, really good. And I think that we should just all look up to Plura. He, like I said, he made mistakes. I actually have recently suggested to IMSA to make a bill that would punish behavior, and the bill was about behavior such as what he's been doing. I am not afraid to suggest things that might hurt people of my own party if it's for the greater good of Redmont, and I know he wouldn't either. He just wants what's best for this
time, Priceless.
Thank you.
So thank you for the closing statement. I hate to cut you off, but we're 20 minutes over, or sorry, 20 seconds over that. Dino, floor is yours.
Thank you. The AsexualDinosaur McBrittle campaign is here for you. We want to promote more RP within our walls. We really haven't had a whole lot of crime RP. I really want to promote that. I want to increase the amount of that the banks pay out, right? The bank you can rob. We need more of that. I want more ATMs around. I need those to be robbable too. We need buffs to come back. I want those. I want Alexandrian relations to go further. We need more trade. We need more discussion. We need more treaties. But most importantly, I want to support our older players in order to help increase the RP for our newer players. Right now, new players can kind of hop on, get a grant, and buy a building. Right? The property supply is vast. I want them to be able to take out loans. I want the renting market to exist. I want rentals to be a legitimate opportunity. I think Congress should legislate anti-competitive practices like $0 rents on rentals and certain anti-competitive practices such as banknote banks that don't charge for withdrawals or deposits. I think everyone knows in the bottom of their hearts that Dino Brittle is the best ticket for Redmont. Thank you.
Thank you, Dino. Moving on to Pepecuu, you have 2 minutes to give your closing statement. All right. Oh, there we are.
Okay. Pepe says, in closing, I would like to first acknowledge the work that other candidates have done to get here, as managing a campaign is not simple. It takes a lot of coordination. Now, I believe that we would earn your vote via our detailed policies, competent cabinet lineup, and commitment to striving for excellence, transparency, and progress in everything we do. We will rebuild the economy following the banking crisis. We will ensure that town rights are here to stay and not just at the whims of an administration. We will make sure that new players are welcomed into our community and stay to build their own legacy. We will do all of this and more to bring Redmont to new heights together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pepe. Moving to Bezzergeezer, you have 2 minutes to give your closing statement, beginning now.
All right, he's been working on it. So I offer you a vision if you vote for me. An executive that consistently updates the public on its inner workings, an executive that takes input from multiple perspectives, and an executive working for you. We have the experience and know-how to push our plans into law. We know how to work with the legislator, and we know how to get them to work with us. We will work to help our new players, small businesses, and our towns, and our critical industries. They need our help, and we will provide it. We offer you an active, determined, and knowledgeable government. And if you vote for us, that's what you will get.
All right, thank you. And with that, our debate here tonight is concluded. I would like to give a few shout outs to our team members before I leave here from TPA News Corporation. So thank you to Torton for helping to organize this, to Alicia Crin and to Emily Pancakes for helping with the stream, and to AC for helping us as well. So thank all of you, and thank you to the candidates and to the candidate the candidate readers. So that would be Priceless and Juniper Fig and Casual Gray Knight. So thank you all for coming, also our audience, and thank you to the Department of Homeland Security for providing security at the event. We managed to get through a debate without any candidates murdered, which is quite rare. So thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you for having us.
Amazing.
Had to get murdered at the end, of course. Of course. Anyway, don't forget to vote. /GPS polls.